You've found the Backup Wrap-Up, your go-to podcast for all things backup, recovery, and cyber recovery. This episode, we continue our Mr. Robot series by breaking down advanced persistent threats, those sneaky attacks that stick around your network way longer than they should. We're talking about how they get in, how they set up shop, operate undetected for weeks or even months. You'll learn about dwell time, why you need to monitor new devices, also why the scan and restore approach to ransomware recovery is really kind of just asking for trouble. I hope you enjoy this episode on advanced persistent threats. By the way, if you don't know who I am, I'm W. Curtis Preston, aka Mr. Backup. And I've been passionate about backup and recovery for over 30 years, ever since I had to tell my boss that there were no backups of the production database we just lost. I don't want that to happen to you, and that's why I do this. On this podcast, we turn unappreciated admins into cyber recovery heroes. This is the Backup Wrap-Up. Welcome to the show. Hi, I'm W. Curtis Preston, aka Mr. Backup, and I have with me a guy that I know is 100% super jealous of the shirt I'm wearing right now.
You know how many years I've been asking you to get merchandise? So for those of you who don't catch us on YouTube, we are on YouTube under the Backup Wrap-Up channel. And there today for today's video, you could see, for the first time, you could see the new shirt, which says the Backup Wrap-Up. It's a polo. It's very nice.
Yeah.
White on black.
And we're not selling the merch or anything, at least not yet. But
if you want a shirt, let us know. Email us or leave a comment on your favorite podcatcher and let us know.
Absolutely. So
5 years.
So I finally ordered it. What?
5 years.
So I finally received it, and now I have it. Both of them got shipped to my house. My shirt and your tiny little shirt. Medium, he says. Medium. I'm like, what is a medium? I don't even know they made such sizes. Anyway, so you'll look forward to receiving your shirt when I decide to grace it upon you. It's sitting in my bedroom.
That's good. Whenever it's ready, it'd be amazing.
Okay.
So wait.
What?
I want to know, when do I get my shirt?
When I decide to send it to you. By the way, it's right here. There's your shirt. There's your little tiny, the one with the M on it. There you go. There's your M.
You know, if you turn the M up, if you look at it upside down, it's a W.
Yeah, for women's. That's So there you go. That's the big day today. We finally have a branded shirt where it's like we're like a real podcast. So, hey, we are going to get right into it today. And we're going to talk about a topic that comes up quite a bit. We're continuing our coverage of Mr. Robot, which I'm now one episode in the future. And I now know why Mr. Robot is called Mr. Robot.
Don't tell me, I have not caught up yet.
Yeah. So, and this episode, which, as you may recall, we're doing two podcast episodes on one Mr. Robot episode. Last week, we talked about the concept of honeypots. And this week, we're talking about the cyber attack that happens on AllSafe. So,
well, technically, we're doing two episodes on two episodes.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. That's kind of why we did it, because the one episode had hardly anything in it, right? Yeah. So, but one of the things that happens in these two episodes, which were episodes 7 and 8, aka 1.6 and 1.7, in the main episode that we're talking about in this episode is White Rose, which we are actually introduced to the character of White Rose. But in the midst of all of this, there is a cyber attack of AllSafe. And it was really kind of cool how it all went down. So Gideon is over there visiting Tyrell, and he's telling them about all the stuff that they've done to, to regarding basically the initial hack that caused the email leak and all of that. And in the midst of that, his phone starts blowing up with 911. Everything is down.
Yep.
So all we at that point, anybody who
And
follows the show would know that they got hacked.
yeah.
Um,
And Elliot gets paged as well. I don't know if you caught that.
yeah. Elliot gets paged as well. But the thing that I liked about the scene with Gideon and Tyrell is Gideon gets everything's down, and then Tyrell's next line was, "Well, I really appreciate your transparency,"
Yeah.
and which of course he is not being transparent at that exact moment. And he goes back, and his first response is, um, basically, "We've got to figure this out. If this gets out, we're toast." Right? What?
Sorry, clarification.
Yeah.
I thought he goes and tells Tyrell that the DAT file was compromised.
But that's separate. That's referring to the original hack.
That's right. And then doesn't he also tell him not that they've been attacked because they don't know that yet? I thought he tells them we think that we found something left behind.
He said that he's going to continue to like look into that hack,
Okay.
right?
Oh,
And
and that's
we
when
got
he
the,
honeypotted.
we put the honeypot and all of
That's right.
that. That's what that was about. But then what we have is while this is happening, he finds out essentially that they've been hacked.
Yeah.
And his first reaction is not transparency.
Yep.
His first reaction, he gets back and he's like, "We got to figure this out.
Yep,
give me
yep.
all the logs and everything. And if this gets out, we're toast."
Yep.
And
Cancel all
which
the
is,
accounts, all the sales calls, everything else like that.
cancel all the
Yep.
sales calls. No one's going to figure out anything. And that, of course, backfires because F Society, who caused the attack, they take over there again with the hack. We've talked about it, before, the hack of the TV. So they hack the TV and they play it's the this is
video.
like this is what it's in the movies. It's always in the movies
Yep.
where they do this, right? Where they
The
take
guy
over
with
the
the mask.
TV and they play the message, and the remote doesn't work. I can't
even
the
unplug
electrical
it.
plug. Yeah, I can't. And it's like, no, I want to see it. And what you see is that basically F Society, and again, this is all whatever, but F Society's message to them is, you have helped protect Evil Corp, and therefore we are going to take you out as well. You are complicit in Evil Corp's evilness. And what?
But the entire reason they did that, though, was it was a misdirection.
Yes. Again, but what they're being told is, right, we're going to do this, right? And they also said that they even posted it to their website. So much for not letting the world know.
Yep.
And yeah,
it was a misdirection. So Elliot can steal the MFA from Gideon,
right,
and then actually send an email telling them to shut down the honeypot, and they have 48 hours.
Yeah, exactly. Which is, did I miss anything in the summary? Which is that's relevant to this.
Well, the one thing you did miss is when Gideon told Tyrell about. Well, there are two things. One, when Gideon told Tyrell about the DAT file and honeypotting, right?
Mm-hmm.
The first thing Tyrell did is he logged into the server.
Right.
And that's where he sort of was like, let me hunt around and see what I don't have access to. And he noticed an F Society file before he has to leave all of a sudden because the police are there.
Right.
So that was one
murder.
Yeah. So the thing that happened to Ollie was they weren't letting go of him, remember? And they still had access to the networks, right? And this is where they wanted...
Who's they in this sentence?
Sorry, they is a Dark Army and White Rose.
Right.
Wanted Elliot to have this meeting with White Rose, which is what Darlene was trying to arrange.
Right.
And they literally still had access to the networks because remember, Angela had put the CD in the computer and
Yep.
had put the virus out there, and they still had access to the network and they were doing things. And this is where Ollie comes up to Elliot in the middle of this attack, by the way, right? So
Yeah.
Gideon is freaking out. Everyone's in the room,
Right.
right? Everyone is like panicking and trying to figure out what's going on, and all hands on deck. Elliot sits down at his desk, right? He's like, okay, let me start doing some research. And then Ollie just kind of strolls up and he's like the sales guy, right? And he's
Yeah.
like, yo, bro, I got 2 hard drives for you.
Yeah.
Take it over to the recovery place or
He's
the
like,
shredding
man, get
place.
one of the people to do it, you know?
Yeah. He's like, what about one of the IT guys, Gophers? He's like, no, man, it has to be you. And Elliot thinks, and he's like, oh, this is why Dark Army wanted me. And
Yeah. Yeah.
all of this was because the Dark Army still had a foothold
Yeah.
inside of Allsafe.
Right. Right. Yeah. So yeah. So those were two kind of important things that are relevant to the topic here. So this week we're going to talk about, I think the formal term would be called advanced persistent threat, right?
Yeah.
And this idea of you've got a threat actor that has, as you mentioned, a foothold, that has, they've used maybe an initial access broker, maybe they somehow they are in the network and they are operating undetected
Mm-hmm.
in the network, and because they're able to do that, they're able to do a lot of things, right? So in this case, what we see is they're able to control one of the employees. They're able to control sort of a second employee in the case of Elliot, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then also you've got two sort of two persistent threats going on because they have the connection in Allsafe. They're also able to facilitate this. What do you call it? F Society is able to do this hack, whose entire purpose was redirection, as you
Yep.
mentioned, right? Because we want to be able to do this thing with the phone, and so that he could get in and get that MFA. The MFA, again, as we've discussed, the MFA is not perfect. If you let your battery run down, I like how he ran the battery down. By the way, story from back in the day. So this is in my very first job, and I don't know if I've told you this story before, but my very first job, it was a deck shop, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was Ultrix, which was the deck. This is before digital Unix, right?
Yeah.
This was Ultrix, and we had our servers were Ultrix, and our desktops were Ultrix. Important part of the story. Both the servers and the desktops were Ultrix. And one of the things that we would do back in the day, gosh, I don't think this lasted, but if you wanted to run an application on the server and have the UI of that application display its UI onto
Mm-hmm.
your
Yep.
server,
X
you
display.
had to run this command, right?
Yeah.
To allow that to happen. And it was common in our environment to just run that command as part of like your login.
Yep.
Like you always ran that because you always wanted to do that. That left you open for anyone to open up
Yep.
an
And
X display
yep.
thing on your desktop. And there was a program called Stars, and it was a screensaver.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
And if you wanted to crash someone's server, you would just run a quick for loop and fire off Stars like 1,000 times, right? And one day, one of the guys in the shop was going to do that to
Mm-hmm.
one of the other guys. And so he just did this like in the middle of the workday, and he's like, boom, 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 boom. And you set your display to that workstation and then you fire it off. And he did that. And then we're waiting for the reaction. No reaction. And then this guy is like, "Hey, Joe,
What
how's your
happened?
workstation?" And Joe's like, "It's fine. Why?" Pregnant pause. "Oh shit!" And he had his display set to the server.
Oh no.
So he had just crashed the production server in the middle of the workday as a practical joke.
Career ending move?
No, no. That guy was like a 9 lives of a cat because he definitely did some serious CLMs.
Yeah. So
Um, yeah,
so
it,
back
yeah.
back
Go ahead.
back 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 to
Back
the back to the
back to the
episode.
show. Yeah.
Um one thing about about this entire like F Society hack on Evil Corp, right?
Hmm.
And Elliot goes, right, he flies in the data center, right, in the earlier episodes, he fixes it, he gets everything back. They never follow the best practices when it comes to recovering from ransomware. Right? What do?
Right.
They just scan the server and they're like, yeah, it's good to go. Let's
Yeah.
continue
Looks
on.
good. Yeah. Yeah.
Right? They didn't quarantine it really, other
Right.
than for like the 30 seconds, whatever, when Elliot was
Right.
there. They didn't rebuild it.
Yeah.
They still left it in production. It was still
Right.
fully available.
Yeah. Yeah. And the thing is with when we talk about APTs, the thing to understand about this is the length of the dwell time, right? So you want to define dwell time?
Yeah, the dwell time is basically how long ransomware sits on your system before it either starts running or it's been detected.
Yeah. And in this case it was there for quite a long time. And
7 episodes?
what's that? Yeah. Yeah. Well, and you had a couple of different APTs going on here, right?
Yeah.
You had the one going on at Ollie's home,
Yep.
right? And then you had the one going on in the Evil Corp
Yeah.
network. By the way, isn't it Evil Corp? I think you're
Yes.
saying
Yeah.
Evil Core.
Evil Corp.
Or, okay.
And my P is very silent.
Oh, so,
Yeah.
um, the
So
go
wait,
ahead.
you're missing one.
What's the third one?
The fourth.
What the what?
There's a four.
So what? So I just remembered two.
There is a fourth one that you
Well,
missed.
wait, we didn't get to a third.
Okay,
So
so
it,
the first is Evil Corp hacked
yeah,
by F Society.
yeah,
The second is Ollie's laptop at home.
yeah.
The third is Dark Army's hack on All Safe's network.
Okay, right.
Right? Technically, the fourth is F Society, but I don't think it's really a persistent threat because that was like a one-time hack.
Okay,
Right? But I would say that the actual fourth one, and this is one that was very subtle, you may not have picked up on, Elliot's hack on Steel Mountain of the thermostats.
oh, right. Yeah,
Yeah.
right. That was definitely an APT right there, right? He had
Want
a
to talk about
foothold
that?
in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you go back a few episodes and we talked about their plan with Steel Mountain was to hack the climate control system and then set off basically make it too hot in the data center for tapes and have the tapes melt. We discussed that was kind of
Yeah.
BS, but that was the plan, and their plan succeeded. They had they put a Raspberry Pi in the right place, which of course everyone knows where your climate control system controls are in the executive washroom. Everybody knows that.
Yeah, of course.
And that's where they put it. And yeah, and so they had this problem sitting there ready to go anytime that they needed to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then did you remember also during that episode, because remember by this time the Dark Army had an attack, they weren't able to raise the temperature on the data center and burn the tapes, right? Ruin the
Right.
tapes. But what they did have is they had that device and still connected,
Yeah.
and they realized that the company that manufactures that thermostat has has a cloud.
Right.
And they're using this exact same thermostat at all the other steel mounted facilities.
Right. And so do they end up controlling all of the
They,
thermostats or
they have done nothing yet.
okay, so they
That's
just
why,
know that. Yeah.
yeah. And this is why Elliot asks and meets White Rose and says, "Hey, I need time. I need you guys to act now right? And this is where
Right.
Rose tells him, "I will give you 43 hours or
Yeah.
53 hours."
Some
What
very
I think it was
some
53
very
hours.
precise time.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
right. And so that's why Elliot's in this rush trying to get like turn off the honey pot so then they can
Right.
actually go do the rest of the hack and hopefully try to destroy Steel Mountain and have the
Yeah.
Dark Army attack the China data center.
Yeah. And we can play with the thing of the honeypot and how that the way he described how the honeypot is, that if the honeypot is what it says it is, that they wouldn't be detected because it's not on the network. But anyway,
Yeah.
you know,
Well, and
yeah.
even the fact that like the thermostat, right? That's in the thing. The fact
Hmm.
that it's been days, no one's like you scan the network, right? No one's realized, hey, what is this thing that's on my
Yeah.
network?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's kind of what we need to talk about a little bit is there are ways to detect APTs, right? You're looking for, and I think there's two things, right? There's a couple of things. One is you are looking for devices that have IP addresses on your network that they didn't. So how do that they're not supposed to have, or that they're new? Every new IP address on your network should be registered and should be known, right? Both from a wireless perspective and a wired perspective, and certainly anything. If you have wireless, if you have unregistered like guest wireless access, that's one thing, right? And they have access just to the internet, but not to the corporate network. You could probably allow unregistered devices there. But if you're allowing a device to gain a IP address on your corporate network and you don't know what this device is, this is a problem.
Yeah. And just a slight correction, you're probably referring to MAC address, at least at the minimum. You had said IP address of
What's it?
devices
Why is that a problem?
because anyone can have an IP. Sorry, the MAC address is what they would typically use to register against the network to then get the IP address.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Or
You,
other authentication mechanisms like
yeah.
Radius and other things like
But
that.
I'm just
Something more
saying,
secure.
a
Yeah.
new device was
Yeah.
given an IP address,
Yeah.
right? A new MAC address to
Yeah.
to use your
Well, a device with
term.
a new MAC address was given an IP address, and the MAC
Okay.
address was not known.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
Pedantic, I
perfectly
know.
correct. Yeah.
Tomato,
Yeah.
tomato.
Tomato, potato. Um,
but
so
but
yeah,
yes,
but you've got
detecting.
a new
Yeah,
device that's been given an IP address on the network, and no one seems to notice, and it's there for how long?
at least 3 days, probably
Yeah.
longer.
Yeah. I I'd like to think that a new device, if you're doing this properly, especially if you're at a place like Steel Mountain, no new device should be given an IP address, no new MAC address, right? Should be
Hmm.
given a new IP address that isn't already known to the network,
Yep,
right? Yeah.
exactly.
Now we know that actually happens all the time. We actually did an episode a while back. I don't know if you remember this, but we did an episode a while back on like wireless hacking, where people are creating devices that get sent to the
Hmm.
network to be able to get on the wireless network to then be able to get onto the
Yeah,
corporate network.
it's
And
a little bit like what he did with the cop car.
it is a little bit like what he did with the cup car. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and and we know that happens. We know that corporations all the time allow new devices to be registered on the network, get IP addresses, and communicate with the network completely unmonitored.
Yeah.
Completely unmonitored. Like you would think at a minimum, you would, if you do allow an unregistered address, you would then monitor that device like crazy. What
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
this device doing? Right?
Or
Oh,
lock
it's
it down.
communicating
So
to all
yeah,
my other facilities.
yeah, that's probably not a good idea.
Yeah, or lock it down. Good
Yeah,
point, right? Lock it down so that it can only communicate with whatever. I
the
don't know.
internet.
I mean, so the other thing that, again, this would help minimize the blast radius of an APT, and that is devices, servers should really only, you should also be following the concept of least privilege for them as well.
Hmm.
Smart devices like a thermostat controlling the network or controlling your cooling system.
So,
should not also be able to talk to servers,
do
you
you
know?
remember what was it? Was it Home Depot or Albertson? No,
It was
Target.
Target.
The
Yeah,
point of
Target.
sale attack, right?
Yeah,
For those
yeah.
terminals, how do they get in?
It
Through
was
the
yeah,
HVAC controllers.
yeah, yeah. So again, we know what happens,
Yep.
but how do we stop this, right?
Yeah.
I would say one of the first things is to detect for new devices. That's the one to stop new like this
Yeah.
kind of attack. But many times the device that's doing the communicating is an existing device that's been compromised in some
Yeah.
way. And so I think the only way for that to work is either a human being that's really good at monitoring
Mhm.
the different types of traffic, or use of machine learning
Yeah.
to watch what is normal traffic, what are the servers and things that we normally talk to, and if suddenly a thermostat that controls the whatever the
Yeah.
Toronto facility is suddenly talking to all the other
Mm.
thermostats,
But
that's a problem.
also remember, I think it was when we had Mike. I want to say it might have been an episode with Mike. People are Mike Saylor, by the way, who is Curtis's co-author on the upcoming O'Reilly book.
Very
Right.
excited.
Yes. Um, he'll add one more to the shelf behind you. Um, so I think it was Mike who had mentioned like people are now starting to exfiltrate data, not
Right.
just by communicating directly to another server, but by sending DNS packets
Right.
and doing lookups. So very, very small amounts of data, and that's really, really hard to catch.
Yeah. Well, it is, and it's not, right? So the person that we had that talked about that talked about how that you actually can recognize
New
first off you can
domains.
yeah you could the domains that are used for these types of things for command and control for malware, they look really weird. They're not normal. So again, go back to machine learning. This is not a normal
Yeah.
type request, right? He also talked about looking for communication to new domains,
Yeah.
right? Things like that, right? The
But all
but
of
I
this is
think
really around like the active persistent threats, right? It's like,
yeah, yeah, and really, I think the thing that you've got to do is you just have to be monitoring your network. You've got to be looking for behaviors, looking for behavior anomalies.
yeah.
You do need an EDR system to watch for that sort of stuff. But again, as we discussed, I believe in last week's episode, the EDR is only helpful on the way in,
Yeah.
right? The EDR might that's endpoint detection and response, it depending on where it is, it might detect an APT
Yeah.
if that APT tries to then
Yeah.
move outside
Which
where it
it did
currently is.
which it did in the case of Darlene trying to hack the police department, right? They had
Yeah.
the software run being like, "Hey, you should not be loading this file."
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
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 But I think the challenge or one thing I wanted to mention with APTs is right, if I look at the all even the Evil Corp exercise, right, where they hacked and they still left things behind. The fact that they're not monitoring the network continually or looking for these sort of activities is a
Right.
little scary because I think I was reading some statistics or some article about ransomware gangs, right? And it's not like they come in, they attack, they steal some data, they encrypt data, and then you pay them and then they go away, right?
Right.
They might come back into your network again to extort you for more money. They might
Yeah.
sell that attack, right? Or that the initial attack to another ransomware group, right? So now they're
Yeah.
exploiting you. And
Yeah.
so if you don't make sure that you've closed off all the gates, right, you're still leaving yourself open.
Yeah. Agreed. Agreed.
The episodes we've done with Mike have been enlightening because he really understands like what the recovery process looks like and how companies recover. And it's fascinating to see like a lot of times on TV, it's like, oh, they got hit with ransomware, boom, they're back up and running. Or what you imagine, it's like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's a quick operation, but no, these could be weeks or
Yeah.
months before they really know what was impacted, and it takes time, and people are careful.
Yeah. The containment and eradication phase is the single biggest phase. The actual restoring of servers is the easy part,
Yeah.
assuming that you backed up all the things.
Yeah.
Well, I think that can end our coverage of advanced persistent threats from season 1, episode 8, aka 1.7 of Mr. Robot. Thanks again, Prasanna.
No, this was a good episode, and don't tell me what happens because I want to see what Mr. Robot is.
Okay. And with that, thanks to our listeners, that is a wrap. The Backup Wrap-Up is written, recorded, and produced by me, W. Curtis Preston. If you need backup or DR consulting, content generation, or expert witness work, check out backupcentral.com. You can also find links for my O'Reilly books on the same website. Remember, this is an independent podcast, and any opinions that you hear are those of the speaker and not necessarily an employer. Thanks for listening.